In the peaceful town of Redwood Creek, nestled between the misty valleys of Northern California, Lena Ramirez lived with her husband Ethan and their spirited 5-year-old son, Noah. Their home, a modest one-story house with sun-bleached siding and a wooden porch swing, stood on the edge of a neighborhood where the scent of pine mingled with the sea breeze each morning. Lena was a middle school science teacher, known at Jefferson Elementary for turning classrooms into miniature laboratories. Her voice, always calm and clear, had a way of pulling even the most distracted kids into the wonders of chemistry or the mysteries of space. Despite the stress of grading papers and managing student behavior, she came home each day with a soft smile and arms wide open for Noah. Ethan, her husband, was a wildlife conservation officer working with the state parks. He spent most of his days hiking trails, rescuing injured animals, and helping locals understand the balance between nature and people. With a lean frame hardened by years outdoors, Ethan looked every bit the ranger but his son only knew him as the silly dad who made animal sounds at dinner and built the world's worst pillow forts. Noah was the center of their lives, a child who asked too many questions and rarely sat still. He had inherited Lena's thoughtful eyes and Ethan's boundless curiosity. Lately, he'd developed a fascination with birds. He could name every species in their backyard by sound alone, and often scribbled pictures of owls, hawks, and jays in his sketchpad. His latest obsession? Building a birdhouse from scratch? "A real one, Mama," he insisted. "With a little roof and stairs and everything." Despite their busy schedules, weekends were sacred in the Ramirez household. Saturday mornings, especially, followed a beloved tradition: breakfast together before starting the day's adventures. On this particular Saturday, the smell of cinnamon French toast filled the air. Lena stood by the stove in cozy flannel pajamas, flipping toast on the skillet, while Ethan sat at the table with Noah perched on his lap, both of them giggling at some bird joke only the two of them understood. "Did you know the California quail is the state bird?" Noah announced proudly, waving his plastic fork like a wand. "They look like they're wearing tiny hats." Ethan chuckled. "Then you, sir, must be part quail." "That would explain your hat obsession." Lena turned, plate in hand. "Okay, Birdman, breakfast is ready." They sat together, warm sunlight streaming through the kitchen windows, their plates filled with toast, berries, and scrambled eggs. These were the moments Lena cherished: simple, ordinary, fleeting. Life was rarely quiet during the week, and Ethan's unpredictable field calls often meant missed dinners or late nights. But right now, they were all together. "Don't forget," Ethan said between bites, "we're heading to Maya's party this afternoon." "What time did Julia say again?" 2:00, Lena replied. "We should leave around 1:30, and we still have to buy Maya a present." Noah's eyes lit up. "Can we go to the craft store? Maya loves glitter and stickers. Maybe I can make her a card with birds on it." "That's a sweet idea," Lena said, brushing his bangs aside. "Let's do both, buy something small and make her something special." After breakfast, the family packed into their weathered green Subaru and drove into the center of town. Redwood Creek's Saturday bustle had already begun: farmers setting up produce stands, teens biking past coffee shops, neighbors stopping to chat on sidewalks. The family first visited the local bookstore where Noah selected a picture book called The Girl Who Drew the Wind. Then they headed to the craft store, where Ethan somehow got glitter on his shoes. Noah picked the brightest card paper he could find, and Lena let them browse while she picked up candles for their living room. Back at home, Noah carefully glued feathers, sequins, and cut out birds onto a handmade card. "This is for Maya," he said proudly, holding it up for Lena and Ethan to admire. "It's a birthday card and a bird encyclopedia at the same time." Just as they were about to get ready for the party, Ethan's phone buzzed. His face tightened as he read the message. "Damn," he muttered under his breath. "They need me at Big Ridge. Some hikers reported an injured fawn. Closest ranger is an hour out." Lena blinked. "Now? Can't they send someone else?" "I'm the only one nearby," he said, already grabbing his boots. "I'll try to be quick." "I hate to miss Maya's party." Noah looked up, concern in his eyes. "Will you be back in time, Dad?" I'll do my best, buddy, Ethan replied, kneeling to hug him. Tell Maya happy birthday for me, okay? Lena watched him drive away with a knot in her stomach. It wasn't unusual, this was Ethan's job. But each time he rushed into the wilderness, part of her ached with worry. Still, she forced a smile for Noah and said, "Looks like it's just us. Let's go give Maya the best birthday ever." As they drove toward Julia's house, Noah clutching his glittery card with both hands, Lena couldn't help but feel that even in the absence of perfection, no matter how plans changed, their little family was still whole. The afternoon sun filtered softly through the tall redwoods that lined the quiet suburban streets of Redwood Creek. Lena parked the car in front of Julia and Marcus Rivera's house, a two-story home painted cheerful yellow, with colorful streamers fluttering from the porch railing. The sound of children laughing spilled out from the backyard like music on the wind. Noah, clutching his homemade card and gift-wrapped picture book, jumped out of the car with the kind of boundless energy only 5-year-olds possessed. "Race you to the door, Mama," Lena laughed. "You go ahead. Just don't forget your manners when you knock." He didn't forget. As soon as Julia opened the door, Noah handed her the card with both hands and a beaming smile. "Happy birthday to Maya. I made this. It has feathers and bird facts and everything." Julia, always warm and expressive, knelt to hug him. "Oh my goodness, Noah. This is beautiful. Maya's going to love it. She's in the backyard, go surprise her." As he bolted past, Lena stepped inside with the gift in hand. The party was already in full swing. Children in paper crowns ran through the grass, chasing bubbles and each other. Folding tables were covered with snacks, juice boxes, and cupcakes topped with tiny edible flowers. Lena spotted Marcus at the grill, flipping veggie burgers while humming to himself, and Julia quickly returned with a tray of lemonade. "Ethan couldn't make it?" she asked, a knowing look on her face. Lena shook her head. "Emergency call at Big Ridge. Injured fawn. Hikers couldn't move it. He said he'd be back soon, but..." Julia placed a gentle hand on her arm. "I get it. Marcus had to leave Maya's birthday early last year for a wildfire call. Life with partners in fieldwork, right?" Lena nodded with a half smile. "Exactly. You learn to celebrate moments in pieces." In the backyard, Noah had already found Maya. The two stood under the shade of an oak tree, inspecting his glittering card. Maya's wide grin and excited chatter made Lena's heart settle. Despite the absence of Ethan, their little family still shared joy, and that mattered most. The afternoon rolled by with easy cheer. The kids played musical chairs, a treasure hunt took them scampering across the lawn, and at one point, Noah and Maya teamed up to build a makeshift bird nest from twigs and cotton balls for a birthday nature project. Still, Lena couldn't stop glancing at her phone every 20 minutes. By 3:30 p.m., she'd sent Ethan a text. "Everything okay? Still at Big Ridge?" No reply. By 4 o'clock, she smiled through cake cutting and camera flashes, but her stomach had begun to knot. When the clock hit 4:45, Julia leaned in quietly. "Still nothing?" Lena shook her head. "It's not unusual. But I always imagine the worst." Julia paused before saying, "He knows how to come back to you. Don't forget that." Lena nodded, but inside, her thoughts churned. It wasn't just today's silence, it was the unpredictability of their life. The school lockdown drills, the forest fire warnings, the moments Ethan would be gone for hours with no signal. She'd learned to hold it together, for Noah's sake. But today, on a day filled with laughter and frosting and feather-covered cards, the quiet absence left a hollow space at the edge of it all. At 5:10 p.m., her phone finally buzzed. Text from Ethan. "Fawn's safe, on my way home. Sorry I missed the party, love you." Lena exhaled slowly, the tension in her chest melting into the evening air. Later, as the sun dipped low and the guests began to leave, Lena hugged Julia goodbye and walked Noah to the car. "Did you have fun today?" she asked as he buckled his seatbelt. "The best," he replied. Maya says I should be a bird scientist. Lena smiled, brushing his hair back. That wouldn't surprise me at all. As they drove home through golden light filtering between trees, Noah asked softly, Do you think Dad saw the fawn? I think he did, Lena replied. And I think he helped it. Noah nodded. That's good. I was a little sad he missed the party. But I think that's okay. We still had a great day, right? Lena glanced at him through the rearview mirror, her heart full of pride. Yes, she said. We really did. And in that simple answer, surrounded by quiet roads and a sky turning pink, Lena realized that love didn't always need to be loud or perfect. Sometimes it was in the waiting, sometimes in the trusting, but always in the coming home. The sun had already dipped below the horizon by the time Lena pulled into their driveway. The house was quiet, wrapped in the soft bluish haze of early evening. Porch lights flickered on automatically, and the old wind chime by the door clinked lazily in the coastal breeze. Noah had fallen asleep in the back seat, one arm curled around the bird-themed birthday card he'd made earlier. Lena smiled to herself. He looked so peaceful. Cheeks flushed from laughter and running under the sun. She gently carried him inside, careful not to wake him, and tucked him into bed. He stirred only once, murmuring something about hawks before turning over. The moment Lena walked back into the hallway, she heard the front door creak open. Ethan stepped in, his uniform streaked with dried mud and a scrape just beneath his jaw. His hair was windswept, and there was a tiredness in his eyes, but also a kind of quiet pride. You're late, Lena said, arms folded, but her tone was more weary than angry. Ethan gave a half smile. Yeah. The fawn had a dislocated leg. Took a while to stabilize it. Then I stayed until the vet came to transport her. Lena stepped closer, searching his face. You okay? He nodded. Yeah. Just sore. That trail up Big Ridge is worse than I remembered. She hesitated, then reached up and lightly touched the scrape on his cheek. You didn't say anything earlier. I kept checking my phone like a maniac. I know, he said quietly. I'm sorry. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence stretched not cold, but waited. This wasn't the first time they'd had a day like this, and it wouldn't be the last. Finally, Lena exhaled. Come on, let's clean you up. In the bathroom, she dabbed antiseptic on his scrape while Ethan winced. You missed the glitter explosion at Maya's party, she said, trying to lighten the mood. Noah covered half the table in feathers and stickers. Julia nearly had a meltdown. Sounds like a masterpiece, Ethan replied. Did he have fun? He did. But he asked about you. A few times. Ethan looked down, jaw tightening. I hate disappointing him. You didn't, Lena said, her voice softening. But I think we need to talk. Ethan met her gaze. About what? About balance. About how much you can carry at work, and how much you're carrying alone. He didn't answer right away. He washed his hands, dried them with a towel, and then leaned back against the counter, looking at her as if he'd been preparing for this conversation for a long time. I can't always choose the timing, he said finally. You know that. And I love what I do, but sometimes I feel like I'm living two lives. One out there, one in here. Lena nodded slowly. And I get that. I really do. But you don't have to be strong in both all the time. We're a team. If it's too much, I need to know. His shoulders relaxed slightly, and for the first time in weeks, she saw the exhaustion behind his usual calm, the cost of being dependable, of being the one who always runs toward the emergencies. He reached for her hand. I'll try to be more present. I mean that. Lena squeezed his fingers. And I'll try to stop assuming the worst every time you're late. They stood there for a while, quiet, hand in hand. Later, after Ethan had showered and changed into a worn t-shirt and sweatpants, they curled up on the couch together. The television played a documentary about migratory birds. Noah's latest fascination, but neither of them were really watching. What if we took a weekend trip soon? Ethan said suddenly. Lena looked over. A trip? Just the three of us. Somewhere close. Leave phones off. No work. No calls. Just time. She smiled, the idea already warming her thoughts. That sounds perfect. As the night deepened and the house settled into silence, Lena rested her head on his shoulder, listening to the steady rhythm of his breathing. But just as sleep began to pull at her, a sound broke the stillness. From Noah's room came a low, stifled cough. Then another. Harsher. Lena sat up. Ethan followed. They moved quickly down the hall. Noah was sitting up in bed now, eyes wide, breathing fast. His cheeks were flushed, and his small hands clutched at the sheets. "Mom, my chest hurts when I breathe," he whispered. Lena's heart dropped. She touched his forehead, burning. His breaths came in short, wheezing gasps. "We need to take him in," Ethan said immediately, already reaching for his phone. Lena grabbed Noah's jacket. "I'll ride in the back with him." Within minutes, they were back in the car, the warmth of the evening forgotten. And as they sped toward the nearest hospital this time with Ethan behind the wheel and Lena holding their child, Lena realized that even in a life built on love and careful planning, everything could change in a heartbeat. The emergency room at Redwood Memorial Hospital was quieter than Lena had expected. The kind of quiet that wasn't peaceful but sterile and tense. Fluorescent lights buzzed faintly overhead. The air smelled of disinfectant and something colder like fear, or waiting. Noah lay curled in her lap on the padded bench, just outside the pediatric exam room. His breathing had stabilized slightly during the car ride, but his face was pale, his forehead damp with sweat. Lena held a damp cloth against his skin, whispering calming words, though her heart thundered in her chest. Ethan stood nearby, hands on hips, eyes scanning the hallway as if his presence alone could speed things along. A nurse finally appeared. "Noah Ramirez?" They stood instantly. "He'll be seen now. One of our pediatricians is on duty tonight. Let's get him into room 3. Lena carried Noah herself, refusing the offered wheelchair. Inside, the small exam room was decorated with faded animal decals and an underwater mural peeling slightly at the edges. But Noah didn't seem to notice. His eyes were half closed, his breathing shallow. Dr. Mitchell, a young man with kind eyes and a steady voice, entered moments later. He listened carefully as Lena explained everything. The cough, the fever, the sudden onset of pain. "He's never had asthma," Ethan added. "No history of respiratory issues." Dr. Mitchell nodded, listening to Noah's lungs with a stethoscope. The frown that appeared between his eyebrows was subtle but not lost on either parent. "I'm going to order a chest X-ray and a round of blood tests," he said calmly. "It might be a respiratory infection, possibly pneumonia, but I want to rule out anything more serious. His oxygen levels are a bit low. We'll get him on some fluids and a nebulizer treatment right away." Lena tried to stay composed. "Is he in danger?" "Right now, he's stable," the doctor said. "We're going to stay ahead of it." That phrase "stay ahead of" Ida in Lena's head like a mantra. She nodded, barely trusting herself to speak. The next hour passed in a blur of soft beeping monitors, the hum of machines, and quiet reassurances. Ethan sat beside Noah's bed, one large hand gently resting on his son's chest. Lena paced slowly by the window, unable to sit still. Every few minutes, she'd check Noah's stats on the monitor, as if the flickering numbers could offer her peace. They didn't. "You okay?" Ethan asked finally, glancing up. She gave a weak smile. "Just doing my part-time job as a professional worrier. I thought I had that covered," he said, managing a smile of his own. Lena leaned against the wall. "You know, earlier today I thought the worst thing we had to face was glitter on the furniture." Ethan exhaled. "Life doesn't give warnings. Just turns." There was a pause. Then Lena spoke again, softer this time. "I'm scared, Ethan." He nodded. "Me too." Noah stirred slightly. His eyes fluttered open for a moment. "Mom?" "I'm here," Lena said instantly at his side. "We're both here." He smiled weakly. "Can we still go camping next weekend?" Lena blinked back tears. Absolutely. You'll build the best birdhouse the forest has ever seen. Noah closed his eyes again, content. Later that night, after the tests had been run, and Noah was sleeping more soundly with the help of oxygen and medication, Dr. Mitchell returned. The chest X-ray confirms pneumonia, he said. Left lower lobe. Moderate case. We caught it early enough. He'll need antibiotics, oxygen overnight, and a few days of rest at home. He's strong, he'll pull through. Lena sat down for the first time in hours, her entire body letting go of the tension it had held. Thank you, she whispered. The relief washed over them both in silence. Hours later, Lena and Ethan sat on a pull-out chair next to Noah's hospital bed. Outside the window, the stars were scattered across the California sky like silver dust. Inside, the machines beeped in rhythm, the room dim and still. Lena leaned her head on Ethan's shoulder. You know, she murmured, this was supposed to be our quiet weekend. Ethan let out a tired laugh. I think the universe misunderstood the assignment. She chuckled softly, tears still clinging to her lashes. But I wouldn't trade this. Any of it. Not even the scary parts. Ethan turned, kissed the top of her head, and whispered, Neither would I. Noah shifted in his sleep, a small sigh escaping his lips. And there, beneath the hum of machines and the echo of long hours, the three of them found stillness not from the world, but in each other. By Monday morning, the hospital discharged Noah with a backpack full of medications, a printed care guide, and a cartoon sticker of a smiling raccoon on his t-shirt. His fever had broken overnight, and his oxygen levels had stabilized. The worst, for now, was behind them, but Lena still found herself glancing at him in the rearview mirror every few seconds as Ethan drove them home. Noah, buckled in and drowsy, stared out the window with that quiet expression kids often wore after being brave for too long. Can we stop by the lake on the way home? He asked softly. I don't want to get out. I just want to see it. Ethan and Lena exchanged a glance. Just for a few minutes, Ethan said, turning the wheel. Redwood Creek Lake shimmered in the early light, framed by pine trees and drifting morning mist. Ethan parked by the water's edge, and the three of them sat inside the car with the windows rolled down. For a while they said nothing. Then Noah whispered, When I was in the hospital, I dreamed I was flying. I was a hawk, and I could see everything from way up high. It wasn't scary. It felt free. Lena reached back and took his hand. That sounds beautiful. I think I want to draw that, he added, but with the sun behind me. Ethan smiled gently. Sounds like a masterpiece. When they finally arrived home, it was as if the house itself had exhaled. The morning sun poured through the windows, touching everything with a soft glow. Lena opened the curtains in Noah's room, while Ethan changed the sheets and fluffed his pillows. Noah, still weak but determined, insisted on drawing before napping. He sat by the kitchen table with colored pencils, sketching a hawk soaring across an orange sky. Lena watched from the doorway, her heart aching with a complicated mix of gratitude and exhaustion. Later that afternoon, when Noah finally dozed off for a real nap, Lena stepped outside to find Ethan sitting on the porch steps, elbows on his knees, eyes distant. She sat beside him in silence. After a moment, he spoke. I couldn't stop thinking about it. That feeling in the car. Not knowing what was wrong. Not being able to fix it right away. Lena looked down at her hands. I felt the same. And it made me realize how thin the line is between normal and crisis. He nodded. And how much we've been letting normal slip by. She turned to him. Ethan, I don't think I can keep going the way we have. You're in the field more than you're home. I'm juggling school, grading, Noah. And in between, we've convinced ourselves that pancakes on Saturdays are enough. Ethan took a deep breath. You're right. I'm not saying we give everything up, she said. But maybe we look at what's really essential. What we're building. What we're missing. Ethan was quiet for a long time. Then he looked at her. I've been offered a new position, he said, at the Wildlife Education Center in town. Office-based, weekdays only. Less field work, more community work. I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure I'd take it. Lena blinked. When did this happen? Last month. I thought I'd miss the wild too much. But now, after this weekend, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. She reached for his hand. Take it. He squeezed her hand back. Are you sure? I'm sure. Inside, Noah shifted in his sleep, the sketch of his hawk resting beside him. Outside, Ethan and Lena sat in the late afternoon sun, holding on to each other not because they were afraid, but because they finally had the space to choose each other, freely and fully. 2 weeks later, spring officially arrived in Redwood Creek. The rainy chill of March had lifted, replaced by sunlit afternoons and trees erupting in pale green leaves. Songbirds darted across the backyard. The hawk Noah had drawn now hung proudly on the frigid vision of freedom captured in orange skies and wide wings. Noah was fully recovered. He was still on antibiotics and taking it easy per doctor's orders, but the color had returned to his cheeks, and the questions had returned to his lips. Can I build the birdhouse today? Yes, Lena replied. As long as you don't carry anything heavier than a hammer. I'll supervise, Ethan added with a grin. Which is code for, I'll do the hard part while pretending you're the boss. That Saturday, they set up a folding table in the backyard, complete with nails, wood pieces, sandpaper, and an overambitious blueprint Noah had drawn himself. It wasn't perfect. The roof slanted slightly, and one of the sides had a rogue nail sticking out like a tiny silver tooth. But when they were done, Noah stepped back proudly, arms crossed like a miniature architect. I think the birds are going to love it, he declared. They better, Ethan said. That thing took 3 hours and 1 smashed thumb. Lena laughed, shielding her eyes from the sun. It's beautiful, crooked roof and all. That evening, as the shadows stretched long across the yard, Lena lit the outdoor lanterns and brought out lemonade and snacks. It had become an unspoken ritual late evenings outside. Phones silenced, no distractions. Just the 3 of them and the rustle of leaves overhead. Did you tell her yet? Noah asked Ethan between bites of crackers. Tell me what? Lena looked up. Ethan grinned. We got official word today. I start the new position next week. Wildlife Education Officer. Monday through Friday. No more emergency field calls. Lena smiled, surprised at how deeply the news hit her. Relief. Gratitude. A sense of grounding. She reached for his hand. I'm proud of you, he squeezed back. I'm proud of us. Noah leaned over the table. So, does that mean we can still go camping next month? Ethan winked. Not only that, we're going somewhere special. Redwood Valley Park. And you're in charge of the birdwatching log. Noah's face lit up. Later that night, after Noah had gone to bed and the house was quiet, Lena and Ethan sat out on the porch swing, a blanket across their legs. The night was warm and peaceful, the sky scattered with stars. I used to think we had to chase happiness, Lena said softly. Big vacations, perfect routines, hitting all the right notes. But now I think it's simpler than that. Ethan looked at her. You think we found it? She smiled. I think we grew into it. He wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close. To more birdhouses. Imperfect and honest. And to more quiet mornings. She whispered, resting her head on his shoulder. The wind stirred gently, carrying the scent of pine and lemon from the garden. And somewhere, just beyond the trees, a hawk soared through the fading skies, wings stretched wide, gliding through the golden air, just as Noah had imagined.